Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Thorson, and this is my signature assignment, the video and photo reflection for my CCS 300 trip with Borderlinks to investigate the immigration issue down in Arizona and Mexico. So the first question asked is, what is culture? Well, first off, culture has its own definition for everybody. Everybody views it in their own way, and it's totally fine because it really has no definition. To each individual person, it's different. Culture to me is the way of life and how you choose to live it. For me, it's behaviors, beliefs, values, objects, and people around you that make up your world. So in my case, my culture is my family, my work, it's both school and my job, my friends, and everything that I have. All of that combined is what I think makes up culture for me. And this is totally different than what somebody else might think. For example, Dario, who we met in Arizona, his culture coming from, Mexico and migrating to America, he's going to have totally different viewpoints and values that he thinks defines his culture versus mine. So the next question was, how did Borderlinks help frame my understanding and the importance of culture, and why does culture really matter? This trip I felt really helped me gain that understanding of how important culture is to people. The Borderlinks staff and the organization whole really helped me find that culture is the beliefs and values as long as the behaviors and the people around you. It really makes up how you live your life and what do the things that you do. I go back to Dario and how his culture may be completely different than mine. He migrated from Mexico into the United States, and with him he brings all of his Mexican heritage and his family and his values. And he's here going to school, trying to get his degree and eventually become a full-time worker. And the way he lives his life, his values and his beliefs are going to be influenced from his family and his Mexican heritage, and that really affects on how people live down here. We also visited another town called Arivaca, and we got to speak to some locals there and how they are affected by this whole issue and what their culture is kind of like. And we got to see how they live, how they interact with one another, how they interact with migrants. And it's just a totally different view. Some of them even moved down here living one way, having their culture be having beliefs and values on certain things. Maybe they thought originally that immigration was a really horrible issue and that it needs to be stopped. But then when they moved down here, Arizona's got a high quality of people who move down here that once down here and they see how immigration, how the issue really is, I feel like they've changed their issues and beliefs. And talking with some of the local organizations such as the Samaritans, they moved down here. I was speaking to one. He moved down here and joined the organization because he felt, he changed his beliefs and values, and he felt that these people needed to be helped rather than shunned. And that's what he chooses to do now on a daily basis, is to help these people into a humanitarian side and make sure that they're getting water and necessities to survive. But like I said, he had moved here, so it's the whole aspect of how you choose to live your life and everything that surrounds you that makes up the culture. So now moving into the I touched on the immigration issue here and how what was my initial viewpoints, and how did it change? Borderlinks made us understand culture, and how easy it is to misinterpret the real understanding here. They made us able to see what immigration really is like. When I first came down here, I was unaware of what the real issue was, and what was actually going on. Everything that I've learned and thought was just portrayed by the media, whether it be the news on TV or newspapers. It was just that stuff. I really didn't get into depth with any research or findings or anything like that to kind of figure out what it's actually like. So coming down here, Borderlinks showing us what the real issues are that helped change my initial viewpoints. Like I said, coming down here, I didn't know what to expect other than what I saw in the media and the news. The media up here in Wisconsin, they portrayed it to be something of an illegal act, and that's something needs to be stopped. So in talking with other people from Wisconsin, they did the same thing. They just see what's on the news or what's in the newspapers, and all it is negative things. So coming down, that's initially what I thought. With Borderlinks here teaching us how immigration actually is, and what it's like down here in this bordering towns and bordering states, and how corrupt the system really is. I just think it's horrible. Like I said, coming down originally, it was thinking it was illegal, and finding out that it's way more than just whether it's illegal or legal. There's a whole humanitarian side. These people are forced to walk through many horrible miles of desert terrain with animals and shrub and cacti, and always under the watch of Border Patrol, and wondering if they're going to get caught and sent back and deported and have to start all over again, and not having any food, not having any water, being pushed away because the border is incomplete, and the fact that they only have a wall and really have agents around the major towns, and then it has the funnel effect of pushing these guys and these women out into the desert, even kids out into the desert to walk and to try to even make it here. And seeing the system and how corrupt it is, Borderlinks took us to an organization. It's called Operation Streamline, where we were able to go into a courtroom and see migrants, up to 70 in a day, but in this case there was only about 25, and who had been caught by Border Patrol out in the desert, or wherever they got picked up, and seeing that they almost just get like a slap on the wrist saying, yep, we caught you, now spend some time in prison, and then we're going to deport you, and then you have to start all over again. I mean, you're spending all this money just to give them a slap on the wrist, make them sit in prison. They're sitting in prison. I mean, according to the law that the judge had stated, it is an illegal act to step foot into our country without the proper documentation, but that's what we're forcing them to do. The system to become legal is so backed up that it's impossible for these people to even get anywhere. And speaking with some locals here, with Dario actually, Dario's mother had applied for to become a citizen here back in like 1995, and she's still yet to this date, more than 20 years later, has yet to even become a citizen, and that's with the help of her brother, who is actually a citizen of the United States. So I mean, if any of these people who don't have any help from the citizens of the United States, how are they supposed to make it in? They don't, because the system is just so corrupt and so backed up that the only option for these people is to go into these deserts and these horrible terrains and try to make it here. And just it's so bad. And this really opened my eyes into seeing the different viewpoints of what the real immigration issue is. And Operation Streamline really did show the corruptness and the fact of we're paying a lawyer who does speak Spanish, but really basically tells the person that they should plead guilty so they can get deported and start over. Otherwise, they could face up to 20 years in prison, because at most they only get 6 months, I believe. And now, like I said, if they just get told to plead guilty, so they can take their anywhere from 30 days up to 6 months in prison, be deported, so they can start back over. And a lot of the times, just to get back to their families. That's their main goal. That's why they try so hard and keep coming, because they wanted to get back to their families. So, what did I learn on this trip? How did this trip make me see something that I wouldn't really see in a classroom? That is the real question here. So, I think that what I just stated really clarified it. I mean, in the classroom, all you're going to see, we watched some videos that just, again, gave the negative side of the illegal side of how it really is and what it's like down there. Or, I mean, what it seems like down there. And this trip made us see the opposite side and what it's actually like. How much money we're actually spending on Border Patrol agents and security of the border. And, all these immigrants and migrants are still coming into the country here, trying to get back to their families, trying to start a way of life for themselves. That's better in Mexico, or that's better here than it is in Mexico. And all we're doing is not giving them really any options to complete this task. It definitely is a hands-on experience that really helps you understand the real issue at hand. And you're not going to get this experience, the same feelings, the same emotions, the same knowledge even in a classroom. You have to be down here in Arizona or any other border country, state, or town to really see the impacts of what it has on these people and these, both American citizens and Mexican migrants and everything. And it's just, you're not going to get that in the classroom. So how am I gonna appreciate the impact this whole trip has on the future, the cultural impact we obtained? There's so many different ways to look at it, and how I'm going to use this in the future. And just to rattle some things off here, it's going to be jobs. The job I have, voting for the presidents, my family, my friends, people at work, anybody I can interact with, so I can share this knowledge of what it's actually like to be down here, and what these people go through, and how it's so corrupt and so horrible for them to obtain citizenship that they'd rather risk their lives in the desert than just wait, and try to become citizenship, because it's impossible almost. And it's just that the perfect word is impact. It just makes the biggest impact on your life. I mean, any aspect of it. My job, I'm looking to work in the healthcare field, and I'll maybe someday be working with migrants, children who migrated here with their families, who now may even be legal citizens, but their parents may be illegal citizens. And I can just gain a better understanding of where they come from and what their background is and how they live their life. Voting in these presidential elections, picking the right president that's actually going to make a change, rather than just continually show the misinterpretation of how the issue really is. Family, friends, and people. The more you spread the knowledge around, the better that it's gonna be. And the people that I went on this trip with, Joe, Taylor, Mike, all these guys, and females as well. The connections I made, we had the initial viewpoints all probably because we're from Wisconsin. It may have differed, but like all of us have gotten the same basic material, and I think we can all appreciate the impact that we're going to have and going to make going forward in our careers, in our future. So this is my signature video photo reflection assignment, and of how impactful culture is, and the issue of immigration down here, and how it's going to impact my life forever on. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and hopefully I can talk to you guys soon and share the knowledge. Thanks.